How many of you believe that it ain't over until God says that it's over? How many of you believe that it ain't over? I know a lot of times we go through a lot of different things, but it ain't over. I just want a little bit more at the place for somebody until somebody resonates in their spirit to know that they got to keep fighting. See, sometimes you got to keep pressing through everything that you're going through. Sometimes you got to continue to keep moving because what you're going through, it ain't over. It ain't. It ain't. It ain't. It ain't. You got to keep going. You got to keep praying. You got to keep fasting. Keep believing. And so tonight we want to talk about it ain't over in your life. I know you probably thought it was over. I know you look. I ain't even talking to you. I thought it was over. See, sometimes you got to just go on and tell people the truth. You thought I thought it was over, but it ain't over. So you got to keep living. You got to keep doing what you're doing because sometimes you have to talk to yourself. You have to encourage yourself. You have to even uplift yourself. But it ain't over, y'all. I know it may look bad. It may seem like everything is going in a different direction. It may seem like everything is not where it's supposed to be. But you are right where you are supposed to be doing the very thing that you're supposed to be doing. But I just want to keep telling you, it ain't over. You, you got to make sure you tell everyone that it ain't over. You got to tell the doctors it ain't over. You got to tell your job, your family, your friends, people that you deal with on a regular basis. It's not over. You didn't went through the muck and mire of everything. You didn't dealt with ups and downs. You didn't dealt with people talking about you. You didn't dealt with folks letting you down. You didn't dealt with all of that. But then you got to know it ain't over. It ain't over. It ain't over. It ain't over. So you got to remember that. Sometimes we don't. We forget to tell people. We forget to tell ourselves that it's not over. But I double D dog dare you as you jump on this channel, you remember those words, it ain't over. Because when you know it ain't over, you know that you can continue to fight. You got to start telling yourself, I am more than a conqueror. I am everything that God has called me to be. Because see, a lot of us we get down. Maybe not. Maybe this ain't got nothing to do with you. Maybe this just me. I get down because of certain situations and certain circumstances, and I allow things to happen, and then it takes me out of the mood that I was in. But then you got to just sit back and think of all the things that you came over, that you've overcome in your life. Somebody's overcome addiction. Somebody's overcome some type of trauma. Somebody has overcome people telling you that you wasn't going to make it. You've overcome things that folks didn't even know that you had to overcome. You may have been molested. You may have been talked about. You may have been abused. You've been in an abusive relationship. You've been in some things that normal folks would have been quit, thrown in the towel, given up. You've been in places that you didn't even think you how did you end up there? But here's the thing that you've got to know today on this very moment that it ain't over. You're coming out of it. You're coming out of that depression. You're coming out of that mindset. You're coming out of that 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 spirit of guilt, that spirit of I'm ashamed, because when you know that you know that God has your back, when you know all the things that you need to know, God continues to show up in your life and show out. This is what you need to know. It ain't over. Somebody else gonna jump on in a minute. Somebody else is gonna come in and just confirm what I'm saying. See, sometimes you got to go on and share, and subscribe to the channel, because see what you've been looking for all day. You said, man, I had to wait all day just to hear it ain't over, just to hear that I can make it. How many you know that you can make it? Well, let me say this. How many you know you've already made it? Mm, you've made it. You've come through some stuff. I know people have let you down. I know you even let yourself down. But this ain't the day for you to keep wallowing in your little own self little pity party. You gotta go on and get up, dust yourself off, and say, okay, now let me get back to the business that minds me. Let me go ahead and stand on flat footed and stand on the word of God and know that today is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. I'm going to look to the hills from which cometh my help, and my help cometh from the Lord. I'm going to be the head and not the tail. I'm going to be above and not beneath. I'm going to do all those. Look, weeping may endure for a night, but joy is coming in the morning. You got to go ahead and claim that. You got to claim victory over your defeats. You got to claim it that look, no matter no weapons formed against me shall be able to prosper. You've got to stand on what you know. And what you know right now, it ain't about what somebody just said. Ain't about what somebody just told you. It ain't what the doctors just said. It ain't about none of that. It's about what you know, what you know. If you believe that, you ought to be able to say, you know what, I know this is going, and you know what I know? I know this too shall pass. So I'm just trying to get you this. I'm trying to condition your mind to know what you know. Because when you know what you know, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Because well, see what you don't understand in life is this: life is gonna keep lifing, but don't let life take the life out of you. Because you got to know you're going to win. I don't know how many more times we're gonna say it. You are going to win because you're a winner. You're connected to a winner. And what I know about winners, winners always win in the end. So tell yourself it ain't over. You don't believe me? Look, let me give you, let me just do this to you one more time. Just for you, just for somebody that just tuning in. You may have missed what we've been talking about. They do look stacked against you, don't they? No way out. Come on. Somebody gonna believe that. It seems unchangeable. Come on. But there is a reason for you to shout. What about the impossible? Is God's chance to do what? That's the part I want you to hear. Just know that it ain't over until God says it's over. Come on, somebody got to tap in on that. Somebody got to tap in and say it ain't over. See, somebody got to tap in right there and say it ain't over. It ain't over. It ain't over. It ain't over. See, you got to confirm that in your spirit and in your mind that it ain't over. No matter what you are dealing with, it ain't over. No matter how long you've been dealing with it, it ain't over. But you got to stand flat footed on the word of God and know that it ain't over. Because what you're going through, it's only temporary. What you're dealing with, it ain't gonna be too much longer before you ain't dealing with that no more. Because what I know about God, He says, in this world there will be trials and tribulations, but guess what? Be of good cheer because I've already overcome the world. And so if He's already overcome, you're gonna overcome. You an overcomer. That's why you got to know it ain't over. How many of y'all believe that today? Come on, somebody else got to jump on and tell me, I believe that. I received that today. I received confirmation. See, sometimes your confirmation shows up at the time that you need confirmation. Somebody needed confirmation today to know that it ain't over. Somebody needed to hear that in their words. Somebody needed to hear that. So I want you to know it ain't over. No matter what you are dealing with, it's not over. The things that you need to happen in your life will happen. The stuff that you need God to bless you with, He will do it. But He needs you to stay in the fight. He needs you to stay in the fight. He needs you to stay right there where you are. Hold on. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't do it. This ain't look what they say. This ain't the season for throwing in the towel. Where you trying to go? God is getting ready to elevate you. But in elevation, He said, I need some separation. Ooh. Hmm. In your elevation, there comes separation. And you have to separate your stuff. You have to separate yourself from your past. You have to separate yourself from friends, family members, people that don't support. To